Here with Derek Randles of the Bigfoot Olympic Project. Derek, welcome to Encounters USA.
Nice to meet you.
So we're at the Sasquatch Summit. We're in Ocean Shores, Washington. And Derek, we want to talk to you a little bit about the project. We want to talk a little bit about the history a little bit, but we really want to talk about where the project is going.
Okay.
So let's just talk about how it started. I guess we'll start at the staircase.
Okay, well, in 1985, I was 20 years old, and at that time of my life, I was submersed in off-trail hiking. So myself and a couple friends of mine, a lot of times we get dropped off on one trailhead and then picked up a few days later on another trailhead, and we would go up so far on a trail and leave trail for a few days, find another trail and come out. So kind of grew up doing it. It was basically wilderness navigation with a compass, and it was during one of these trips when I had my first encounter. In 1985, I was 20 years old. And I saw one from about 60 feet after it got done throwing a series of rocks at us. And we didn't know what was going on until we were actually retreating and sliding down this ridge. Basically, something was back there. Something was throwing rocks at us, or around us, I should say. And as we were getting off this bridge, I remembered I had a firearm in my backpack. So I skidded to a stop, grabbed the pistol, spun around before I continued downhill. I mean, this thing had stepped out into the open. And just right at that point, it just changed my life.
Okay, so I've interviewed Rich Germeau, and we've been down at the Cliff Canal site, which it's a little ways from what you're talking about.
We found some ignorant.
Is that, do you think that's the same, you think it's the same plane, you think it's the same?
No, there are major waterways in between where we're doing our research and where that happened. I do think that where Rich was researching, I was actually researching it with him for a number of years, is an active area as well. But my initial sighting happened near Lake Cushman on the western side of the mountains.
Okay.
Or excuse me, the eastern side.
Okay, so, yeah, but we went to a spot near Lake Cushman. And is that's the same area?
That is very close to the same area. Because he had sites going on both sides. He was on Harstein Island. And then, yes, up where he was researching at Lake Cushman was probably only about 8 or 9 air miles from where my initial sighting.
Okay. So, if you go to the Olympic Project website, it's, especially on Facebook, there's, what's going on with the project? Are you guys, you seem to be expanding, but there's not a lot of activity on your...
Well, first of all, we're not social media people.
Okay.
We do not share our research on social media because it just turns into this giant argument with everybody. We're not in the business of trying to prove ourselves to anybody. Everybody in the Olympic Project is like-minded. We are not out to prove Bigfoot's existence. We are studying what we already know is there and trying to learn as much as we can. That's where kind of a lot of the groups that you hear at these symposiums and conferences, everybody's trying to prove Bigfoot. Not everybody, but a lot are. We have no interest in proving Bigfoot's real. We all know Bigfoot's real. What we're trying to do is put together a body of information in a comprehensive way. And if the time species verification ever comes to fruition, we want to have this body of evidence, notes, and data that we can put forth to whatever governmental agency is going to take it over at that point, and it will be useful. I know that sounds kind of basic, but that's what we're doing.
Well, actually, that's what I'm doing too. There are a lot of characteristics that are associated with Bigfoot, and that need to be compiled. And like I heard David Ellis, his vocalizations and whatever. You guys are doing the right thing, and I talked to Bob Gilman a little bit ago, and it's so amazing that it's gone from this, the woo, what you guys say, to now we're scientifically investigating this. So, has science cooperated with you on this?
No, but as Todd Meese said on stage a few minutes ago, in order for that to happen, our game has to raise. We have to be more. We have to be more specific with our evidence. We have to be better. We just have to be better. There is and at the Olympic Project we do try. We are strictly a scientific group. Okay, I don't know a lot about the woo word. I mean, everybody throws the word around. I'll just straight up, I'm not there. Okay, in my opinion, Bigfoot does not mind speak. Bigfoot does not shape-shape. Bigfoot is a natural creature that's indigenous to the Northwest here. That's in my opinion. I could be wrong. So I never say anything definitively as if I'm right and somebody else is wrong, but we are a scientific organization. Okay, I don't have the will to entertain the other stuff. I have no interest in it whatsoever. So my beliefs and my opinions are based on the last 35 years of research that I've personally done. What I've learned, the information that I've gleaned through the eyewitness encounters, through my own stuff, through the what we're working on right now. We're actually working on something right now that's just kind of mind-bending in this field with I don't know if you've heard about it, with the beds and that's documenting. So we just stick to that path, not throwing arrows at anybody else. That's who I am. I will stay true to it. And quite honestly, the older I get, the more stuck to it I am. I think that there's a lot of bullshit in the Bigfoot world, and I think that over 90% of sightings are not that at all. I'm an extremely skeptical person. I believe a lot of them are misidentification, misinterpretation, or just bullshit. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I think I can clear the sensors.
Okay. And because I have that opinion, it's not the popular opinion, but it's my opinion. There are people that think that there could be as many as hundreds of Bigfoots in the Olympic National Forest. I think there's maybe 20. I'm far and away on the more skeptical end. I have personally taken so many sightings and debunked them in real time with the witness in one way or another. And a lot of them are legitimate mistakes, misinterpretation, misidentification, or just an overactive imagination.
Yeah, I know that in Washington State you have more Bigfoot sightings than anywhere else. And I agree with you. I think 80% of those are people that are going to the Olympic Peninsula to see Bigfoot.
Sure.
And they come back, they saw Bigfoot. I saw some people talking about they had a pine cone drop on a bench or their picnic table while they were camping. And that was Bigfoot.
Sure.
So, okay. Yeah, so when I see that they have all these sightings, I go look at some of the people that are coming here. And so anyway, so Derek, you also have another connection that I'm very interested in, and that is the missing 411 connection. And you worked on the Jacob Gray. Are you a pararescue person? Or are you?
No, I'm not. So, I don't have any of those qualifications. What?
I want to ask you, because as a Bigfoot researcher, I mean, why would people come to you? They did come to you to help look for Jacob.
Yeah, and the reason they came to us is because I have property that's strategically located where Jacob went missing. So, and the search and rescue knew that we hosted expeditions in that area, and they know that we're often off trail up there. So they came to me for a couple of reasons. They came to me to say, hey, if you guys are out on an expedition and you see anything weird, please, this young man's missing. This was right after he went missing. And then in turn, I offered search and rescue to stay on my property. Myself and Wally Herson own this piece of property up in the Salt Lake, and it's where we host our expeditions, and it's where we recreate, and so we do a lot of stuff up there. But it is right at the end of Salt Lake Road, where Salt Lake meets Highway 101. We have a massive 3-acre field. So search and rescue came and camped there for a couple of the operations, and it worked out beautifully. So at the time, we are always off trail hiking anyways, so we got to know Jacob's parents, and then it got very personal because we became friends with them quickly, and we just started looking. We actually looked for a year and a half, and we documented over 400 off-trail miles on the GPS, gridding out areas where he went missing, totally roadless and trailless. We searched our brains out, and during that time, all three of us, myself, Tanya Barba, and James Million, we just gel. We're good off trail. We're good observers. I teach survival, so I'm very equipped to be out there. So does James, and it was just kind of like a fish in the water type thing. So we really enjoyed it. So we actually formed an organization called Olympic Mountain Response Team, and it's a 501c3. And all of what we do, we're not Swiftwater qualified or anything like that. But what we are good at is just looking off trail, staying the course until we find something. And so that's what got us into that. And it's a very strange case where his body was found. It was about 900 to 1,000 feet above Bow Lake, up in the park. When he went missing, there was zero chance he could have made it there. So that's another mystery. I don't know how he got up there. He might have had to wait and survive in the wilderness and then follow the weather up as April, May, and June happened. Because when he went missing, there was just absolutely no way that he could have physically gotten to where he was found. So that's a mystery, but that's how we got into it.
All right, so you say that it was impossible for him to get up there.
Maybe not impossible. Everything's possible.
But you're talking.
In my opinion, highly unlikely because James and Tanya approached several of the different trails that lead into the very high country in April, and there was no way. The snow was way too deep. We couldn't get up to those elevations. So I don't know how he ended up getting up there.
Yeah, I've actually been up in the Hoh in April, and I got to the snow line, and you just can't get up any further.
Well, see, Hoh Lake is actually way up on top of the mountains, and it's a strenuous hike without snow.
Yeah.
And so I just don't know. Me personally, I have no idea how he could have got there. So I think I'm not tying Bigfoot into this in any way, shape, or form. I think there's a possibility that he lived in the woods for a while and then followed the weather up and ended up there. I think that's really the only way it could have happened.
Okay, but you don't want to include Bigfoot in here. I kind of do. I think Bigfoot is a suspect that should not be ruled out. 5 people have disappeared. Actually, one disappeared last summer. I think it was a Chinese woman in Lake Preston.
Yes.
Did they find her?
Nope. But they think she drowned.
Okay, that's probably likely. But at no time. Okay, so with I think Jacob Gray and then one of the guys that went missing by Lake Bushman. They said that they found the bodies and they identified them, and this is the wording of the article. And we'll do the autopsy. The autopsy will be next week. How do they know it's the person?
Well, because I think if somebody's missing in that area, then the odds of it being that person are probably pretty high.
Yeah, but they have to do DNA testing.
And there's also articles of clothing and part of their gear. Like I know when Jacob was found, he was in a lot of the stuff that they knew that he had.
Okay.
As far as clothing and stuff, the clothing was scattered out. But here's the thing. Here's where you and I are different. And where the Olympic Project
Thank
comes
God
from.
for that.
Well, their differences are great. Where the Olympic Project comes in, if somebody comes to us and says, hey, I have this evidence, or I have these vocalizations, or we have these tracks, or we have all these sightings, or whatever, we don't even let Bigfoot in the door until we rule everything else out. And we're very serious about that. We're going to rule everything out before we even think about it being Bigfoot. Because that's the responsible way to do it. And it's really a scientific method. You've got to rule out every single one, like the nest that we're working with right now. When these nests when we started researching these nests, we got 3 bear biologists involved. We got other biologists involved. People in Fish and Wildlife, people in the Department of Natural Resources. And we started a mass search on anything in North America that builds ground nests and ground beds. And we ruled basically everything out before we even started thinking that these could possibly be Bigfoot beds. That was 3.5 years ago. At this point, I'm quite sure that's what they are. But we've done our due diligence and taken this amount of time to rule every other possibility out. And with Bigfoot stuff, and people just assume Bigfoot did this or Bigfoot did that. I'm not that guy. I'm the opposite of that guy. I assume something else did it until the evidence slaps you in the face.
Yeah,
gives you no other.
I get that, but I say they're suspects.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of them.
And 5 people, now 6 people missing and 1 likely drowned, but all of them males, all of them relatively healthy, and just disappeared. And then Jacob was found someplace where you say it was impossible for him to get to.
Well, not impossible, but improbable in my opinion.
So, all right. Yeah, because I don't want to get into this because I know you guys are dedicated about science. So my last question is, you're working with, who did you just name, the Department of Natural Resources?
No, with the nests, with the ground nests, which we don't give the location of the ground nests. When I initially went out there with one of the owners of the timber company where these nests exist, DNR came out as well. And that's when we started doing our due diligence and started talking to bear bite, because one of the closest things they resembled in the beginning were bear beds. But they're not bear beds because they're constructed as opposable thumb stuff. And the material for these nests was broken off bushes in the surrounding area, transported, and then crafted into what looked like giant birds' nests. So the only match that there is really are African gorilla beds. They are almost identical to African gorilla beds, other than a different type of foliage, because this is Washington, that's Africa. But as far and the other difference is ours, the beds that we are investigating are thicker. And we've documented along this one particular ridge 21 nests.
Amazing. So, I guess the first thing is, are you guys going to take me with you sometime on a
If you ever want to come up, yeah, we actually kind of keep the door open to people that want to come up and research with us. This time of year, it's a little slower. I'm a business owner. Everybody in the Olympic Project has a day job, so people have this perception sometimes this is all we do. You know, actually, I do Bigfoot research when I have time, and it is not a priority in my life. It's a big thing in my life, but I've also raised 5 children. I run 2 businesses, a guide service and a landscape construction business, and so Bigfoot fits in when I have time. Now, in the summertime, it's almost an every other weekend thing, and sometimes a couple days a week, as time allows, which is actually the reason I went into business for myself, was so I could allocate time to do this. And so we do it a lot, and our policy is if we met you and we like you, and we're up there, you're welcome to come tromp through the woods with us and do what we do.
Is the jury still out on me?
No, you're welcome.
All right, so you want to plug your business? You want to...
Sure. Well, yeah, one of my businesses is Randles Landscape and Design.
Randles Landscape and Design.
And we are in Mason County. We do service Kitsap, Mason, and Pierce County. We do mostly hardscaping patios, elevated walkways, elevated patios, retaining walls, excavator work, water features, things of that nature. And the other one is Ridgewalkers Unlimited. And what we are is a guide service. And what we do is teach people how to live in the woods if something goes wrong, or if you're out in the woods. See, one of the things with the expeditions that we hold, we have a huge emphasis. We don't bring people on expeditions to see Bigfoot at all.
What?
We bring people on expeditions, and we do charge for them, but they get a lot for their buck. Yeah. We bring people to teach them the Olympic Project way of conducting research and documentation. And along with that, we also help prepare them to be in the woods. Because if you're not prepared to be in the woods, you cannot do effective research. If you venture 100 yards from your minivan and you're lost, you're not researching, you're scared, you're trying to find your way out. Or if you get out there and you're worried about it getting dark, you're worried about direction, or this, that, or the other thing, you can't be an effective research. So we'll take the researcher or the enthusiast and we start giving them the tools to be comfortable in the wilderness, to where they can concentrate on what they're doing. And then the oh shit factor, if you're out there and something goes wrong, you break a limb, we teach you what to do. We teach you how to woods navigate without a compass, without a GPS. Just a bevy of things. You know, how to build a shelter, how to stay alive, and I'm really into that part of it. So, and as you know, I'm 54 years old now. As I've progressed through this 35-year Bigfoot thing, that's probably my favorite end of it now. You know, the nests are fascinating. In all the years I've been doing this, the nest that we're working on is the most fascinating thing that I've done. But as far as the expeditions and the teaching and the Olympic Project way, working on preparing people to be in the wilderness is kind of what I specialize in. And
Derek,
enjoy.
Yeah, Derek, we're gonna have you on a normal podcast so you can talk a lot more about what you guys are doing and everything. But I really appreciate what you're doing. It's very eye-opening. And good luck out there.
Thank you.
As we say on Encounters USA, watch your back.
I will. I saw your shirt.